Hi everyone, welcome to the third story of Kahania Calling. Today's story is about three life-changing questions which applies to all of us. Do reflect on them after you hear the story. We will be waiting for your comments.
Three stories, three questions. It once occurred to a certain king that if he knew the best time or the right time, for every action, if he knew, what is the most important time, who is the most important person, and what is the most important thing to do, he would never fail in his endeavors. He thought that it would be a great thing if he could do this. So he posed these questions to all his courtiers and he got several different replies. He was not happy with any of them. Then they spread the word across the kingdom, and that anybody who answers these questions will be awarded handsomely. A lot of learned men and scholars came. So to these questions as to what is the most important time, somebody said the most important time is when you are in the court, while some said the most important time is while you are in the battlefield. While some said, okay, the most important time is while you are sleeping, because that's the time when your body gets rest. While some said the most important time is when you are eating or when you're with your family, the king was not really convinced. Different questions, different answers, different perspectives, but not really convincing. Then, for who is the most important person? Some said again it is the courtiers, some said it is the ministers, while some said it is his family, while some said it is his own self who is the most important person. Again, varied responses, but none of them that could satisfy the king. He knew that these were not the right answers. And then, as to what is the most important thing to do, some said the most important thing is religious activities. Some said the most important thing is to rule the kingdom. And again, some said the most important thing is to, do charity. So, a lot of these responses came to the king, but he was not really convinced. And nobody got the award for the same. He was disappointed as he really wanted answers to these questions. One of his courtiers suggested that there is a hermit who is a wise man, basically who lives in the forest, that he can answer his questions. The king was delighted and he said, call upon the hermit. The courtier said, my lord, I'm sorry, but the hermit never leaves his village, never leaves his forest, and he meets only common people. Therefore, if you want answer to your questions, you will have to reach out to him in his forest and go as a common man. The king so badly wanted the answers to these questions that he decided to do so. So he went to the forest, and then before reaching the hermit, he changed his clothes to a common man's clothes and left his guards, bodyguards, and horses behind and walked up to the hermit. The hermit was busy plowing the ground. He saw the king and he greeted him and he began doing his job. The king said that I have come to you with these three questions, and he narrated his questions to him. The hermit listened to the questions, but then he was busy, digging the ground with a spade. Some time passed by, and the king realized that hermit is actually a weak man. He really needs help, right? Because after a little while, this man is panting, taking break. So he offered to him that, okay, I will help you. He took a spade and started digging. And after digging for quite some time, let's say 1 hour, 2 hour, the king was again really, really tired. And he asked Hermit, O learned man, will you please tell answers to my questions? The hermit looked at him but did not respond. He rather asked for his spade. Okay, now that you rest, let me do the digging. The king said, no, let me do it for you. You are already very weak. So the king started digging again. And another couple of hours passed by, but there was not a word from Hermit. Finally, it was evening time, and before King could leave, he just asked the hermit again that, "O learned man, would you be kind enough to answer my queries before I leave? Or should I just have to leave like this without the answers?" And then suddenly came a voice, somebody running, and the hermit said, "Let's see who it is first." And they saw a bearded man coming who was bleeding profusely from his stomach. He was holding onto his stomach and running and and shouting for his life. So the king and the hermit took the man and they tried to heal his wounds, dress up his wounds to stop the blood, right? So, and the king took out his took it out his handkerchief, scarf, and all everything possible to heal this man. And suddenly, after some concerted efforts, they were able to stop his bleeding and give him some treatment. And they took him to the hut and laid him there. It was now late evening, and the king was also very tired. This bearded man slept off, and the king also just slept off there, forgetting everything else. The next morning, when the king woke up, he did not remember anything as to what had happened. And then he saw this bearded man looking deeply into king's eyes, and he asked for forgiveness from the king. King was bewildered. Forgiveness for what? What happened? He said, "O king, I had come to kill you, to take your life, and you saved my life yesterday. I am really indebted to you, and I can't be more thankful to you for this." But the king said, "Why did you want to kill me?" He said, "In one of the court cases, you had confiscated all the property of my brother and imprisoned him. As a result, I wanted to take revenge for that and had come to kill you. I was waiting for you all through the day to come back because I knew you had gone alone to the hermit, but you did not return. So as a result, I came out to kill you. But then your guards who were there, for whom I was not aware, they noticed me, recognized me, and they wounded me. And I was just running for my life and ended up here where you saved my life." King was really happy that he made peace with his enemy without really knowing it or making efforts for it. The king was really happy and he decided to leave for his kingdom. So before leaving, right, one last time, he asked the hermit, "O learned man, would you please answer my queries, or should I just go empty handed?" The hermit, who was busy showing seeds in the holes that he had dug up yesterday, looked to the king, smiled, and said, "Your questions have already been answered." As if the king got a shock of his life and said, "O learned man, you did not utter any word yesterday, and I have been constantly asking you for my questions. How have I been answered?" He said, "Come here," leaving his spade, and he told him that, "See, when you had come to me yesterday, right, and when you were here, that was the most important time. The most important person to you was me. You were with me, and the most important job, the task that you were asking for, what is the most important thing to do in the world, was to do me good. Now you stayed here, waited for my answers, and did not really leave. Because if you had left, this bearded man would have killed you, right? And you would have repented leaving from here. So the most important time was when you were here. The most important person was me, and your job was to do good to me, and you were really kind to see that a weak man doing the digging work, and which is not really very much possible for him, you helped him throughout the day doing the hard work. So these are your three answers. Now, from the bearded man, we learn that when the bearded man had come, he, he was the most important person. And the most important time was the time that you spent with him. And what we did was All you did was to do good to him. You saved his life. As a result, you have made friends with your enemy, and that too without really making a genuine effort for it. So remember, the most important time is now, because this is the only time when you have some power. Past is gone, future is always a mystery. The most important person is with whom you are, because you do not know if you will ever come across this person again, or if this person will ever have any dealings with anybody else. And the most important thing in the life is to do good to that person, because that's the whole purpose that you have been sent in this life. Thank you.